He never listened, and he never listened.
Am I supposed to go now?
Yes.
Well, I didn't have the kind of variety of experience that either of the two of you had. Mine was rather monolithic in a way. It was essentially always physics. And I remember one time Dan asked me, how can you do quantum mechanics for 50 years? But in point of fact, if you look at the quantum mechanics books at the end of my career and the quantum mechanics books at the beginning of my career, there were vast segments that wouldn't have existed at the beginning. There were all kinds of new developments. All in all, I would say that it was a magnificent choice I made by pot luck or whatever, and it's worked out very, very well. We've had various advantages. The fact that Grace herself is a physicist has helped, because it means when we go abroad, it's easier for her to get into the system. One year we spent at Oxford, and she had a fellowship at American Association of University Women and was working full-time, so it was easy for her. And on other occasions, she was doing some writing, and so she would interview various people and so forth. So it worked out very well, and we have estimated that we've spent about 7 years of our lives living outside of the country. And of course, I spent about 3 years of my life in Aspen, Colorado, if you add up all the months I spent out there. And since I have an innate love of mountains, that was a marvelous place to be. And also, we've been at some of the major universities in the world. I mean, I spent about 1.5 years at Harvard. I spent 2 years at MIT. I spent a few months at the University of California. I worked at the Los Alamos laboratory for about a month or so. And in Europe, I've been in all the major universities. I mean, we were at the Bohr Institute, the main institute in Denmark. We were at Heidelberg University, which is the main university in Germany. We spent a year at Oxford and 9 months at Cambridge, 6 months at Cambridge, and 3 months at University College. I mean, they're the best places available.
And Paris.
And University of Paris. I spent a term at the Institute for Advanced Study. So it's been a terrific time. I mean, I think it's been a blessing. And now I have certain physical problems. And it's my therapy to sit around and do physics, because there are a lot of things I can't do.
Well, when did you first meet Grace?
I met her in graduate school when I was leaving Penn and she was arriving at Penn. My last year and her first year overlapped. And so that's what I said. We didn't get engaged at that time, but we sort of understood we were going to get married. And then my second year at MIT, she came up. And there's another person who was very not influential so much as a model. We spent a year at Oxford University when Grace had her own fellowship, and I was working with piles. And again, I don't know whether God came down, the God I don't believe in, came down and blessed me, but I mean, Piles is one of the nicest people on the planet, as well as being one of the smartest. And it was just a joy to be there at the time he was there. And all kinds of stories that people tell about Piles, and every one of the stories always has to do with what a nice man he was, and how he did this and how he did that, and how his wife, who was a little bit on the kooky side, but very intelligent, but she had certain problems. She was inviting people there day and night. You go there for dinner, then you show up and you say something about you like to chop liver. The next day, Sir Rudolph Piles knocks on your door, and he comes in, and he says, Larry, he says, and gives you a little bag of chopped liver that you put aside for him. I mean, it was just, there'd been some very wonderful people, and by definition, for a long period of time, the only people who went into physics were the best people. It's not true now. So if you're associated with physicists, you were associated with people who were smart. I mean, I've seen studies at the time that I got out of college. If you took the English majors and the physics majors knew more literature than the English majors. It was just a different caliber of people. And so you're associating all the time with very nice people. You have the chance. We spent 2 months in China on a program in which you travel around like a big shot. There's somebody meets you at the airport. You have a driver and an interpreter, and it's a wonderful thing to do. And you meet some of the smartest kids in all of China. And with 1.25 billion people, the smartest kids in all of China are goddamn smart. So, and some of them I've had dealings with over the years, and it's been, all in all, I can't think of a better way to have spent my life.
Don't forget all the meetings you've been to all over the world, including Russia.
Oh, meetings, oh yeah. Well, Russian experience was very special. And you always, well, impressed with the fact that I took this bus ride, knew no word, and I knew I had to get off near a lake. And I couldn't see the lake, I was gonna go near the lake. So I walked,
This was in
Well, is that when we
in
took?
Leningrad, in Leningrad.
Yeah, when we were in Leningrad, isn't that when we went to,
No, he wanted to go swimming. This was a special.
oh, this
thing
was
which he
another
did
time,
by
not
himself.
that bus that you and I
No,
took up to.
but I didn't speak a word of Russian,
Yeah.
and so Grace knew some, but not enough.
No,
You
no, I
weren't-
wasn't
you weren't
with you.
there.
You were
weren't-
alone.
No,
and
he
you
was
went
with,
down
he
to
was
the-
I
with
walked
me.
up.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, I went with Ben, I walked up and down the aisle going,
In the bus, in the bus.
in the bus. And the point was, I knew I was gonna go by the lake, and I figured somebody's gonna figure out what the hell I'm doing. And sure enough, at the appropriate time, somebody said to me, you know, get off here. So I've had lots of fun traveling around, and China was a marvelous experience for 2
Not
months.
to mention Nepal and Tibet.
Oh, Nepal and